The federal budget has just dropped in Australia. There's been some major wins for home buyers. So if you're looking at buying a home this year, you're going to want to watch this video. We're going to break down what some of the things that have come out for home buyers, what it means if you're thinking about buying a property this year, even if you're looking at buying regionally. There's a couple of perks that are coming out there and potentially some tax incentives that are going to help you get into a home sooner. So Nathan, I guess let's start from the top. Federal budget, there are lots of winners, lots of losers. You're going to be able to see, there's going to be news about it for the next few days on the fuel price excise reductions. There's a bunch of cybersecurity stuff, but I guess we're here for the first home buyers. We're the home for first home buyers. So walk us through what the government has announced tonight with the first home loan deposit scheme. I guess starting from the top, what is the first home loan deposit scheme?
Yeah, so great news for first homeowners out there. The first home loan deposit scheme has been extended. There's more spots available. And for those home buyers and first homeowners out there that don't know much about the scheme, it effectively is the government guaranteeing you if you have less than a 20% deposit. So you can theoretically get in the market with as little as 5% deposit. The government backs you so you don't pay lender's mortgage insurance, which saves you thousands of dollars. Now, for those out there that have tried to get in the scheme and have struggled in the past, there were new spots that were released earlier in February this year. And we actually found that a lot of banks have started to say that they don't have any availability left. Great news, they've increased the number of spots available in the scheme from 10,000 to 35,000 places for the year starting 1 July, from what we understand. Which is fantastic news for a lot of home buyers out there that are struggling to get in the market and come up with a deposit. The price caps are still the same as well, and we'll run through that a little bit later.
And I think that was like one of the big issues I had with the scheme is it was just pot luck. Like it's first in, first best, first dress. You had to save up your 5% deposit. You had it. You tried to put your name down the scheme. You might miss out. And it was just pretty rough. But this is going to give some certainty to a lot of home buyers out there. There's so many people that are trying to get into the market. You get to your 5%, then you work out the stamp duty. So yeah, I think the expansion is going to be really huge. It's going to be great news for any home buyers out there. So it's definitely worth having a chat to a broker. Hit us up if you need any help with that. We'd love to help you out. And on top of that, like you can see here at the screen, the scheme's expanding to regional Australia. And that's going to be announced sort of later in the year with some finer points there. But I guess specifically, if you're in the metro areas and you're looking at using the first home loan deposit scheme, they're tripling the amount of spots available. So from 10,000 to 35,000. Like Nathan said, I guess one of the negatives, the things that was expected that didn't come out was an expansion on the price caps. So if you're in Sydney, for example, it's available on home purchases up to 800,000. Melbourne and Victoria, it's 700,000. Queensland, Brisbane, it's 600,000. And if you're in the regional areas, it's a bit less. Perth up to 500,000. I'll include the link below. This is great for just to work out, your area, for example, and it tells you what the maximum price cap is. This is on existing homes. There's also the new home cap. So it's only on a brand new house. It's never been lived in. It's slightly higher, but for the majority of home buyers, especially that we see, a new home is obviously risk with that with the construction industry and whatnot. So the existing home up to the caps here is really great news. So it's good to see.
Adding one thing to that, Jaden, as you said, we're really hoping with this budget that they would review the pricing caps. It doesn't appear to have happened. That's a little bit disappointing because we do find a lot of people want to get in the scheme, but the prices and their caps limit the availability and actually being able to use it. So that's one thing that I guess the budget hasn't really delivered on here, but it is good news for first homeowners out there that are wanting to get in the market with minimal deposits. They can leverage this scheme still and have success.
Yep. You might want to mute your phone there, buddy. You hear it in the background. Yeah. So I guess on the scheme as well. So the other thing that I haven't changed is some of the income caps, which I guess for most people it's okay. Where it can get tricky is if you got paid a bonus or something last year and you might have had an abnormally large income year. So you need to be earning under 125,000 in the last tax year. So it's actually based on your notice of assessment, actually what was on your tax return. And if you're a couple under 200,000, so if you're earning over that, it's not eligible. The other thing that I think it can be a bit unfair with this scheme, we've covered before, it's only available if you're an Australian citizen. So if you're a permanent resident, even I've had a couple of people who are waiting on the citizenship ceremonies because it's obviously things have been delayed and pushed back because of COVID. you're not going to be able to get the scheme until you've got your citizenship, until you've got your passport. And it's the same with New Zealand citizens living in Australia. You're not allowed to do that. So again, not a nice thing, but like it's just part of it, part of the eligibility that's there. I guess the other thing that you've got to keep in mind with this scheme too is it is limited to certain lenders. So if you bank with like a smaller bank, a regional bank, even one of the big four outside of NAB and CBA, you might bank with ANZ, they don't have the scheme. So you're not going to be able to do it. Even if you had a relationship with ANZ for years and years and years, they aren't accredited with this scheme. So again, hit us up at Hunter Galloway, like happy to help out, or chat to your broker to have a look at that. I think like as far as the impact on the property market, Nathan, I guess what have you sort of seen? Like it's allowing obviously more people to get into the market. What's the kind of cause around those price points from what you've seen, I guess, in our experience, people who've applied for the first home loan deposit scheme this year and the last year?
Yeah, look, the good thing is for those that we've been able to assist on the scheme, it has made a huge difference because we've got clients out there that have just scraped together the 5% deposit. And to be honest, if it wasn't for this scheme, they wouldn't be able to get the property that they were looking for. So it's been hugely helpful for a lot of those home buyers that have found the market's moved on them, and the deposit that they've been saving up for years and years and years is actually no longer as valuable as it was what it was. So I think this scheme has been hugely valuable. I think adding to one of your points you said earlier, Jaden, about your taxable income, you do also need to lodge your tax return. So that is something that you do need to do. So be aware of that. If you haven't lodged your returns for the last financial year just gone, make sure they're in because it is a requirement. And same with the next financial year. As soon as we tick over to the next financial year, that is a requirement as part of being under the scheme.
Yeah. And I guess following that point, Nate, like, and like you see on the scheme there, being able to use this scheme, helps you get into the property quicker because you can get in with a lower deposit. Without that scheme, as we covered before, you're going to need at least an 8% deposit. So it means you can get into the market way quicker. It's going to save months, potentially years off that saving, like it says there. The other thing too is it saves on lenders' mortgage insurance costs. So that insurance cost can be thousands of dollars, even in some cases tens of thousands of dollars. And it means that you're going to be able to save that, put that in your bank and get in the market. And I guess conversely too, it's going to get you into the market quicker. And in a rising market like we're seeing at the moment, it could mean the difference between getting to the market this year, waiting another year, and potentially missing out on some of those price gains. So I think it's pretty huge. Some of the other bits and pieces in the budget, which I guess probably won't go through in too much detail. There were a couple of tax cuts released as well for sort of they call it low to middle income earners, but pretty much like anyone under about 120,000 is going to get a tax cut there, which is going to probably help with savings. The other schemes that they're not revising, which is, I guess, unfortunate, but they're still there if you're looking at saving over the long term. There's a First Home Super Saver scheme, which you can make contributions to your super and kind of use that towards your deposit and help build up your deposit quicker. So that's still there. They didn't announce any changes to do with superannuation or using that super. From what we've seen so far, I guess Labor's replies tomorrow. There's an election later in the year, so wait and see if they're going to do anything on that. But I think definitely this is just awesome news for first home buyers. It just means that potentially it's going to give another 25,000 people access to the scheme that most people kind of getting locked out of or just missing out on. And I think it's going to give more certainty, don't you, Nathan? Like it means you're not going to be sort of on a waiting list and just hoping you're going to get a spot.
100%. I think it's great news for first homeowners out there, particularly as we found with all the price rises, it's become even more of a challenge to get in the market. So it's more good news. And I think if you're a home buyer out there needing assistance, feel free to hit us up at huntergalloway.com.au or call us at 1300 088 065, and we'll see you next time.